Today we are here at Clyde Peeling's Reptiland, one of my favorite places to go to for interviews. So, let's go see what they have going on. And here we are with the timber rattlesnake. So what can you tell us about this snake?
Well, the big difference in timbers and diamondbacks, number one is size. Timber rattlesnake is a much smaller species than the diamondback. Also, they live at least in Pennsylvania, in areas where they have to find a place where they can get below the frost line and hibernate for the winter, a hibernaculum. And while there are a lot of rocky areas left from the Ice Age in Pennsylvania, it is ideal timber rattlesnake habitat, and probably we have more rattlesnakes per square mile in this state, in Pennsylvania, than any place in the United States. Now, Florida has an environment that's more even in temperature, less extremes, and the diamondbacks may hibernate, but for very brief periods, and they wouldn't go nearly as deep underground as the timber rattlers. And these animals congregate. In the spring, they come out of hibernation. The males and the females that are not pregnant move away from the denning site and they'll go to a summer feeding ground. Snakes from other dens will often use the same feeding grounds, and they'll end up in the same location so that you get genetic exchange when they mate. They go back to the dens where they were born. The females that are gravid or pregnant stay near the dens, and they have communal birthing sites. For example, a few years ago I saw a birthing rock in northwestern Lycoming County in Pennsylvania where there were 28 pregnant females under one rock.
Wow.
And they're back again this year because one of the government people from DCNR sent me a photo of the same rock, and he said, it's a good year. So they come in different color phases. This is kind of tends toward the yellow phase, but they do get lighter than this. Some of them are gray with the mottled markings, and then some of them are solid black. And some people used to believe the black ones were males and the yellow ones females, but in fact there's no sexual dimorphism. There's no difference between the sexes. It's just a variable species. It's called a polymorphic species, and so some are yellow, some are gray, some are black. It doesn't have anything to do whatever with the sex.
How does that help them in the wild, like with coloration?
Well, the coloration in case of timbers, I'm guessing that there's no strong selective advantage to being black or yellow. So if a predator, let's say, begins to kill off a large number of yellow timbers, then it's reasonable to assume that the population will begin to switch toward predominantly dark color or black. If they're killing mostly black ones, then over a period of time you'll see more yellow timbers. But again, it's cryptic coloration. Whatever their immediate habitat, it helps them blend in with those surroundings.
What do snakes eat in the wild?
Timber rattlesnakes eat chipmunks, birds, squirrels, any animal, again, like the diamondback, that is about appropriate size and they can handle. But if you were bitten by a timber rattlesnake, it's highly unlikely it would be a lethal bite. Probably is not going to kill you, but it's a serious bite. You'd certainly want to get medical attention. But they're small, they don't deliver the large quantity of venom as do the diamondbacks. Probably not going to be.
That's where Cece lives, they have that.
You know, it's not going to kill you.
It's not going to kill you, but it's going to hurt.
Very much. A typical timber rattlesnake bite, or any rattlesnake bite, you get immediate pain. It's an excruciating pain. You begin to get swelling. The swelling will move up the limb. In my case, I was bitten in 1961. Swelling moved up this arm, across the neck and chest, and finally stopped swelling over here a day later. The venom is made up of a lot of components, but enzymes that break down capillaries and blood vessels So you get internal bleeding, and your hand or your leg will start to turn black and blue, and it's not a pretty sight. It's not something you want to experience.
Well, I don't really think anyone wants to be bitten by a venomous snake.
I'm sorry?
I don't think anyone wants to be bitten by a venomous snake.
Well, you'd be surprised. There are people that do crazy things with venomous snakes, thinking that they're never going to get bitten. And of course, if they're taking chances, they do eventually get bitten. And some of these local snake hunts that are held here and there in Pennsylvania, you'll often see people missing a thumb or a finger or something, the result of a snake bite that either wasn't treated properly or maybe they didn't keep the wound clean, but it's not uncommon.
Back to the hibernation. I can see here that there's 3 different species of snakes. So would they usually be together like this, or would they be together?
Yeah, I've actually found these 3 species, the timber rattler, the northern copperhead, and the black rat snake, all denning in the same area. Now, what we used to call a den, turns out it's really not the hibernaculum. That might be back under the trees somewhere, but where you typically find them this time of year, if they haven't left the basking area near the den. But where you're finding them is out warming themselves in the sun somewhere near the den, but not the actual den site. And, you know, people occasionally will find a rattlesnake in their yard, and they'll call the authorities and they'll come and try to transplant that animal to a den somewhere. If the snake was not born at that den, it's highly unlikely that it's going to use the den site. A friend of mine who had done extensive rattlesnake studies has found that he could put a foreign timber rattlesnake at a hole that goes into the den, and the snake would freeze to death rather than enter that den because of the strange, unfamiliar odors.
Use that forked tongue to kind of smell.
Yeah, they flick the tongue out, they pick up chemical particles of scent, and they brush that against the roof of the mouth, and there's 2 little pits called Jacobson's organs, and that sends a message to the brain saying this is food or this isn't food.
Over here, look. Well, thank you for telling us about the timber rattlesnakes and the eastern diamondback rattlesnakes.
Okay, Carl.
If you guys enjoyed this week's episode, don't forget to leave a big thumbs up down below, subscribe to my channel, come back next week for more animal education.